Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I trust that Bree and Patrick are going to come up with an accurate interpretation there. And now let's try to find a new segue into the review. Today, we'll take a look at the latest adventure of everyone's favorite band of misfits. We'll be covering Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Here is my reaction for the trailer. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
We were gone for quite a while.
7 years, no, 6 years actually.
No matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
Yes, they do.
Hello, we come in peace.
Famous last words spoken. Drax, why would you do that?
Oh, Drax, seriously, dude?
No, 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 no! Ow!
Don't forget.
Oh, I can't watch this.
We have been running our whole lives.
Pete, I'm done running.
There we go, Rocket. I'm guessing that's our villain. Chaos everywhere.
We'll all fly away together. One last time. Into the forever.
Oh, I don't like that visual there. That's not good. Hey, there's Adam Warlock. Just got feels there.
And we'll kill anyone who gets in our way.
No, not kill anyone.
Kill a few people.
Kill no people.
Kill one guy, one stupid guy who no one loves.
Wow.
You're making it sad.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Okay, so I'm excited for this. I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. This was pretty much my introduction to them, as I think it was for a lot of people. I do remember thinking, you know, how do you make a movie about a guy from Earth, an assassin who's the daughter of arguably one of the biggest villains in Marvel history, a tree that only says 3 words, a raccoon with machine gun, and then a guy who doesn't understand sarcasm. Like, how on earth do you make this work? But somehow they did. It developed a huge fan base and we ended up getting 3 movies out of it. So obviously James Gunn knew what he was doing when he signed up to write and direct these movies. I do notice one thing, well, 2 things. One, where it showed Rocket when he was younger. I feel like that's gonna be pretty hard to watch. At least I hope not, but you know, I'm prepared. And another thing I've noticed, and this is kind of funny, is that how Vin Diesel, who does the voice of Groot, how he's signing up to just say 3 words throughout the whole movie. And it's not anything against Vin Diesel. I actually really like him. Him, Bradley Cooper, and Dave Bautista are my favorites in these movies. And I like Zoe Saldana too. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny and interesting. Probably the easiest paycheck ever, but who knows? So yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. And when we come back, I will give you my general thoughts. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is directed by James Gunn and stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Karen Gillan, as well as Tom Clementieff and Sean Gunn reprising their roles as the Guardians. In this movie, Peter Quill must rally his team to defend the universe and one of their own in a mission that, if not successful, could mean the end of the Guardians. Before I share my thoughts on this latest movie, let me share my opinion on the last 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. First one, I thought was a big surprise. I remember seeing the trailer for the first time and thinking, there's no way this will be any good. This is going to bomb. However, after I saw it, I was completely wrong. The characters are extremely likable. It's funny, but also has a lot of heart in it, which is something I think is fairly common in most James Gunn productions. It also came as a shock after we got arguably one of the greatest comic book movies ever made in the very first Avengers movie that came out in 2012. And in this, we follow a team of criminals. My main issue with the first movie is I thought the villain was pretty generic and forgettable and didn't really pose that huge of a threat. The second movie, I also really liked. I feel like in the second movie, they decided to lean more towards the comedy, which I didn't mind as it did lead to quite a few good jokes. I also liked how they added Kurt Russell to the movie, and I think he brought a lot to the story. I think think he was a step up from the villain from the first one. So now we have this new movie, and apparently it's going to be the last of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So after seeing this movie, all I can say is, welcome back, Marvel. Marvel hasn't had that many hits after Endgame. I'd say the only two that stood out were Spider-Man No Way Home and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. A lot of people say this is the best of the Guardians movies, and while I think it's better than the second, I don't think I can go as far and say it's as good as the first one. I think the first Guardians of the Galaxy was really one of a kind, as it featured characters who aren't really well known and made the movie more of a comedy rather than a serious comic book movie. And it's hard to believe that it'll soon be 10 years since the first movie came out. Now let's shift focus into the third installment. I think one of the things that really drove the movie was Rocket. He was the emotional centerpiece of the whole thing, and we get some really well spread out flashbacks of his past and how he came to be the character we all know and love. The other characters get a good amount of screen time, but really, this is Rocket's movie. I also feel like we get some good development for Nebula's character. She's more than just the former assassin of Thanos, and we see how she interacts with each of the characters. And not only does the writing help, but the chemistry between the actors. While we're on the subject, let's talk about the chemistry between Pratt and Saldana as Peter and sort of Gamora. Quill is still mourning, and when Gamora comes back, he does everything he can to try to win her over once again, even though she has no memory of him or the Guardians, nor does she really want anything to do with them. But throughout the course of the movie, we see walls being lowered and trust being gained from both sides. Let's talk about the villain next, the High Evolutionary, played by Chigudi Uji. I think his motive is straightforward and also pretty intimidating, which leads to some pretty haunting visuals that may be triggering if you're an animal lover. I will admit that even most of the scenes involving this villain were very hard to stomach. I do think there are times where he comes across as a little cartoony, where he does yell a lot, but he still manages to be a well-done villain. The movie was also very emotional and heart-wrenching. I guess it's because we spend so much time with these characters that we grow to know and love them as they go on all these journeys together, and how far they're willing to go for one another. This is a roller coaster of action, drama, and heart. Get ready for the feels and bring tissues if you can. I think another thing that makes these Guardians movies stand out is how visually gorgeous they all are. The visual effects were outstanding, as well as the cinematography and the set design. I remember reading on Star Wars Day that James Gunn wanted to make this set of movies almost similar to the Star Wars universe, while also making it its own thing. There's a huge list of names involving the special effects that I won't name all of them, but huge props to them on once again delivering. While the theme seemed to be more dark, it didn't shy away from being funny, and the comedy really delivered. James Gunn is known to have a good setup and good payoff with his comedic writing. My main complaint with the movie is how they use the character of Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter. I do believe this guy is really talented. He's proven it in movies like We're the Millers, The First Maze Runner, and Detroit. After the first time we see him, he really doesn't do much, and they portray him as kind of clueless, which I didn't really see how this character would be portrayed when he was finally brought to the big screen. They teased him at the end of the second movie, but that was over 6 years ago. But hey, better late than never, I suppose. I just found his character to be pretty underwhelming, and I wish they did more with him throughout the whole movie. In the end, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a very good addition to the MCU, and is now the next big hit to come out after Avengers Endgame. The cast is fantastic, I love the visuals, and the writing is classic James Gunn, which brings another hit in his collection of comic book movies. It makes me excited to see what he does for his rendition of the DC Universe, and if it's anything like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, or even like his last time with DC, when he directed the Suicide Squad, then I think we're in good hands. I think people should also know that Gunn is more than just a comedic director. He's also knows when to make things serious, and his movies really manages to do both. My grade for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be an A-. Thank you all for watching this review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Until next time, this is Will Braunlich, and I will see you at the movies. Save a seat for me.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.